our chapter 1 page. Then we'll read chapter 2 and do our words to know, and we'll look at that page. Whatever we don't get to today will be the rest of your homework. So go ahead and get your chapter 1 page out. I know my friends in class, give me a thumbs up if you have this out.
I have it.
Fabulous. All right, let's look over that picture it. What were some things you drew to show friendly? Remember the town that Marty and his family are from. What did you have in your illustration? Brooke?
Well, I kind of actually put when he was like near the forest and where he found the dog.
The dog. So you might have had a lot of forest or trees in your illustration.
I also put like a bridge over it.
Ooh, yeah. Did you get that bridge that Marty crossed? Maybe you have a bridge. What else might you have? I know that's a lot. That's a good start. What else might you have had? Terry?
I have like a river or like a pond.
A river. Remember, there was the river. Did the river move fast? Remember how slow it moved? It seemed like it wasn't even moving. What else, Rose?
I couldn't do it, but I said it rural.
It's rural, meaning it's like in that country, right? All right. Ryan?
I drew some mountains.
There were a lot of like mountains or hills, right? They're out in the country, so it was really kind of, is it nice and flat? No, right? There's lots of little grooves and hills and bumps. Last one, Amelia.
I drew the branch that was hanging down from the tree.
Ooh, so maybe you drew Marty going out to like hunting, and there was like the different aspects, like the branch or the cans or the apples. I know there's a lot. When I was walking around, I saw fabulous illustrations. My heart is exploding with happiness of how much detail you included. Give yourselves a pat on the back again, 4th graders. Good job. All right, now we did the character analysis together, so let's go down to the answer it. What was one thing Marty liked to shoot at, and one thing Marty did not? You should have had 2 parts to your answer. What was one thing Marty liked to shoot at? Zach?
Cans.
Marty liked to shoot at cans. What else did he like to shoot at? Ryan? Apples. What else did he like to shoot at? There's another thing. Monica? Branches or like trees, right? That was a good start. All right, what does he doesn't or didn't? I'm just going to say doesn't like. I know those don't match, but that's okay. Adam, what does he not like? Moving things. You might have also put animals. Moving things or animals. Good. What was the name of the man who Marty's dad thinks the dog belongs to? Zane? Judd Travers. Double check your writing. Do you have a capital J and a capital T? Do you have a full sentence? Is the man or the man's name is Judd Travers? Something along those lines. Okay. Monica? Do you have a full answer? Remember we talked about what do you need on these questions for grade friends?
Full sentences.
Full sentences. Yep. So you really should have. The man's name was Judd. Judd or Judd Travers. I'm okay with just Judd. Alicia?
I have a question about that. Can I do it like if Judd Travers was his owner?
Yes, that's fine. As long as it's a full sentence. Shiloh. All right, number 3. Where did Marty get the idea? This one you kind of had to infer a little bit. He picked Shiloh. Why Shiloh? Lily?
Because it was because of the what do you call it? School, the Shiloh schoolhouse.
Marty got the idea from the old schoolhouse.
From the old Shiloh schoolhouse.
The old Shiloh schoolhouse. Yep, so he found it. Remember he found the dog? That's where the dog joined up, by the Shiloh schoolhouse. So if you have something along those lines of he found the dog in that area, bingo. All right, other questions about chapter 1? All right, before we read chapter 2, let's look at that top part, and we're going to do our words to know, okay? And remember, you might want to write smaller. Make sure you got a sharp pencil because there's 2 definitions. And I know that this is kind of like tucked under here. So to peek at the word, just gently lift this up, and you can kind of see a letter. I know the staple might be right there. Does anyone know what this word is? Veterinary. Good. And that is, remember we do those 2 dots to separate our word from our definition? This is something that is medical treatment of animals. So whenever you see things to do with like veterinary or vets, it's with that medical treatment of animals. Can you see? Give me a thumbs up. Can you read my words okay? Okay. Alicia?
Oh, I'm going to see the next one.
You're going to do the next one? Oh, let's give them a little bit more time to write. And remember, my friends at home watching, you can always pause the video while you're writing your words to and unpause when you are ready to go on. All right. What is our next word? We have another big word this time. Alicia? Abandoned. So if something is abandoned, it is kind of like it's lost. It's left by the owner. It's left by the owner. Like you might find an abandoned suitcase on the side of the road sometimes. Or an abandoned house is left by the owner. Give me your hands on your head when you are done writing your definition so I know when I can move on. You got both definitions down. Huh? Miss Holly, while we're waiting?
Did you make this?
I did make this. I kind of hodgepodge things together. Holly? Oh, okay. Same. All right, looks like most of us are good to go on. All right, so taking a look, let's do a quick peruse through the rest of our page so we know what to listen for during our chapter. The next part is called Connect It. We're going to make connections to the story. We haven't really done this, though, but do you know what a connection is?
Yeah.
You did? Do you remember what a connection is, Monica?
Like it's like something that it says in like I guess the text that you can relate to.
That you can relate to or it reminds you of something. So we're going to make 3 connections. Text to self means this story to yourself. Relate to this story with something for you. The next one is text to text. So use this story. Does it remind you of another book or something you've read before? And the last one is text to world. That one's probably one of the trickier ones.
Yeah.
Making a connection to something in the world. Like, have you seen something on the news? Have you actually seen something like this in real life? Okay, that could be text to world. Brooke?
Actually, a few years ago, my brother used to have a parrot, but then he opened the door and his garage was open, and somehow the parrot got out, and we were trying to find it, but we couldn't find it.
Okay. Okay.
His name was Rocky.
Underneath that, we have character analysis. What character are we paying close attention to today?
Marty.
Holly? To Marty. We're going to add adjectives to describe Marty's character today. Okay, from this chapter. We'll do this one together. Down here is called stop and jot. Do you know what jot means?
No.
To write. Okay, to write. So this one just has to be a quick idea. Stop and jot. What signs did Marty see in Shiloh that made him realize Shiloh was in danger? And then, these are questions that you're going to answer for homework. Reminder, what do you need here? Full sentences. All right, so go ahead and get your book out, and we will start reading Chapter 2. Okay? Chapter 2 for me starts on page 19. Give me a thumbs up when you are ready to begin reading. I know. I'm working on it. I got a few thumbs ups. I don't know if all you heard that. All right, Chapter 2. Remember, who is telling the story? Who is our narrator?
Marty.
Marty is. Good. Sunday night supper is what's left from noon. If nothing's left over, Ma takes cold cornmeal mush fries up big slabs, and we eat it with Caro syrup. But this night, there's still rabbit. I don't want any, but I know Shiloh does. I wonder how long I can keep pushing that piece of rabbit around my plate. Not very long, I discover. You going to eat that meat, or are you just playing with it? Dad asks. If you don't want it, I'll take it for lunch tomorrow. I'll eat it, I say. Don't you be giving it to that dog, says Ma. I take a tiny bite. What's that doggy going to eat, then? Asks Becky. She's 3, which is 4 years younger than Dara Lynn. Nothing here, that's what, says Ma. Becky and Dara Lynn look at Dad. Now I had them feeling sorry for the beagle, too. Sometimes girl children get what they want easier than I do, but not this time. Dog's going right back across the river when we get through eating, says Dad. If that's Judd's new dog, he probably don't have sense enough yet to find his way home again. We'll put him in the Jeep and drive him over. Don't know what else I figured Dad to say. Do I really think he's going to tell me to wait till morning? And if the beagle's still here, we can keep him? I try all kinds of ways to figure out how I could get that rabbit meat off my plate and into my pocket, but Ma's watching every move I make. So I excuse myself and go outside and over to the chicken coop. It's off toward the back where Ma can't see me. We keep 3 hens, and I take one of the 2 eggs that was in a nest and carry it out behind the bushes. I whistle softly. Shiloh comes loping toward me. I crack the egg and empty it out into my hand. Hold my hand down low and Shiloh eats the egg, licking my hand clean afterward, then curling his tongue down between my fingers to get every little bit. Good boy, Shiloh, I whisper and stroke him all over. I hear the back screen slam and Dad comes out on the stoop. Marty? Yeah? I go around, Shiloh at my heels. Let's take that dog home now. Dad goes over and opens the door of the Jeep. Shiloh puts his tail between his legs and just stands there. So I go around to the other side, get in and whistle. Shiloh leaps up onto my lap, but he don't look too happy about it. For the first time, I have my arms around him. He feels warm, and when I stroke him, I can feel places on his body where he has ticks. Dog has ticks, I tell my dad. Judd'll take him off, Dad says. What if he don't? It's his concern, Marty, not yours. It's not your dog. You keep to your own business. I press myself against the back of the seat as we start down our bumpy dirt driveway toward the road. I want to be a vet someday, I tell my dad. He says. I want to be a traveling vet, the kind that has his office in a van and goes around to people's homes. Don't make folks come to him. Read about it in a magazine at school. You know what you have to do to be a vet, Dad asks? Go to school. I know that. You've got to have college training, like a doctor almost. Takes a lot of money to go to veterinary school. My dream sort of leaks out like water in a paper bag. I could be a veterinary's helper, I suggest, my second choice. You maybe could, says Dad, and points the Jeep up the road into the hills. Dusk is settling in now. Still warm, though. A warm July night. Trees look dark against the red sky. Lights coming on in a house here, another one there. I'm thinking how in one of these houses there's probably somebody who would take better care of Shiloh than Judd Travers would. How come this dog had to be his? The reason I don't like Judd Travers is a whole lot of reasons. Not the least is that I was in the corner store once down at Friendly and saw Judd cheat Mr. Wallace at the cash register. Judd gives the man a 10 and gets him to talking. Then, when Mr. Wallace gives him change, says he gave him a 20. I blink. I can't believe Judd done that. And old Mr. Wallace is all confused, so I say, no, I think he gave you a 10. Judd glares at me, whips out his wallet, and waves a $20 bill in front of my eye. Whose picture's on this bill, boy? He says. I don't know. He gives me a look, says, I thought so. That's Andrew Jackson, he says. I had 2 of them in my wallet when I walked in here. Now I only got 1. This here man's got the other, and I want my change. Mr. Wallace, he's so flustered, he just digs in the money drawer and gives Judd change for a 20. And afterward, I thought, what did Andrew Jackson have to do with it? Judd's so fast talking, he can get away with anything. Don't know anybody who likes him much, But around here, folks keep to their own business, like Dad says. In Tyler County, that's important. Way it's always been, anyhow. Another reason I don't like Judge Travers is he spits tobacco out the corner of his mouth, and if he don't like you, and he sure don't like me, he sees just how close he can spit to where you're standing. Third reason I don't like him is because he was at the fairgrounds last year, same day we were, and seemed like every place I was, he was in front of me, blocking my view. Standing in front of me at the mud bog, sitting in front of me at the tractor pull, and rising right up out of his seat at the Jordan Globe of Death motorcycle act. So I missed the best part. Fourth reason I don't like him is because he kills deer out of season. He says he don't, but I seen him once just about dusk with a young buck strapped over the hood of his truck. He tells me the buck run in front of him on the road, and he accidentally run over it. But I saw the bullet hole myself. If he got caught, he'd have to pay $200 more than he's got in the bank, I'll bet. We're in Shiloh now. Dad's crossing the bridge by the old abandoned grist mill, turning at the board of school. For the first time, I can feel Shiloh's body begin to shake. He's trembling all over. I swallow. I try to say something to my dad and have to swallow again. How do you go about reporting someone who don't take care of his dog right? I ask finally. Who you fixin' to report, Marty? Judd. If this dog's mistreated, he's only about 1 out of 50,000 animals, that is, Dad says. Folks even bring him up here in the hills and let him out. Figure they can live on rats and rabbits. Wouldn't be the first dog that wasn't treated right. But this one come to me to help him, I insist. Knew that's why he was following me. I got hooked on him, Dad, and I want to know he's treated right. For the first time, I can tell Dad's getting impatient with me. Now, you get that out of your head right now. If it's Travers' dog, it's no mind of ours how he treats it. What if it was a child? I ask him, getting too smart for my own good. If some kid was shaking like this dog is shaking, you wouldn't feel no pull for keeping an eye on him? Marty, Dad says, and now his voice is just plumb tired. This here's a dog, not a child. And it's not our dog. I want you to quit going on about it. Here? I shut up then. Let my hands run over Shiloh's body like maybe everywhere I touch I can protect him somehow. We're getting closer to the trailer where Judd lives with his other dogs. And already they're barking up a storm, hearing Dad's Jeep come up the road. Dad pulls over. You want to let him out? He says. I shake my head hard. I'm not letting him out here till I know for sure he belongs to Judd. I'm asking for a slap in the face, but Dad don't say anything. Just gets out and goes up the boards Judd has laid out in place of a sidewalk. Judd's at the door of his trailer already, in his undershirt, peering out. Looks like Ray Preston, he says through the screen. How you doing, Judd? Judd comes out on the little porch he's built at the side of his trailer, and they stand there and talk a while. Up here in the hills, you hardly ever get down to business right off. First you say your howdies, and then you talk about anything else but what you came to talk for. And finally, when the mosquitoes start to bite, you say what's on your mind. But you always edge into it, not to offend. I can hear little bits and pieces floating out over the yard. The rain, the truck, the tomatoes, the price of gasoline. All the while, Shiloh lays low in my lap, tail between his legs, shaking like a window blind in a breeze. And then the awful words. Say, Judd, my boy was up here along the river this afternoon, and a beagle followed him home. Don't have any tags on his collar, but I remember you got yourself another hunting dog, and wondered if he might be yours. I'm thinking this is a bad mistake. Maybe it isn't Judd's at all, and he's such a liar, he'd say it was, just to get himself still another animal to be mean to. Judd hardly lets him finish, starts off across the muddy yard in his boots. Sure as hell bet it is, he says. Remember we talked about that? Sometimes there's that language in there. Can't keep that coon dog home to save my soul. Every time I take him hunting, he runs off before I'm through. I've been out all day with the dogs, and they all come back but him. I can hear Judd's heavy footsteps coming around the side of the Jeep. I can smell his chewing tobacco, strong as coffee. Yup, he says, thrusting his face in the open window. That's him, all right. He opened the door. Get on down here, he says. Before I can even give the dog one last pat, Shiloh leaps off my lap onto the ground and connects with Judd's right foot. He yelps and runs off behind the trailer, tail tucked down, belly to the ground. All Judd's dogs, chained out back, bark like crazy. I jump out of the Jeep, too. Please don't kick him like that, I say. Some dogs just like to run. He runs all over creation, Judd says. I can tell he's studying me in the dark, trying to figure out what's it to me. I'll keep an eye out for him, I say. Anytime I see him away from home, I'll bring him back. I promise. Just don't kick him. Judd only growls. He could be a fine hunting dog, but he tries my patience. I'll leave him be tonight, but he wanders off again, I'll whoop the daylights out of him. Guarantee you that. I swallow, and all the way home, I can't speak a word, trying to hold back the tears back. And that's the end of chapter 2.
That is sad.
That was a sadder chapter than 1, wasn't it?
Yes.
Does Marty like Judd Travers?
No.
How do you know? How do we know that Judd? What reasons did he give? What were some of the reasons? He had 4 of them, right? 4 reasons. What was one, Ryan?
The one at the supermarket where I think he pretended that he gave the guy a $20 bill so he could get more change back.
Right, he lied. He gave him a 10 and said, "Oh no, I gave you $20 so he can get more change back." He lied. He's a liar. What else? Why does Marty also not like Judd? Right, Zach?
Because he always seems to be out to get him and trying to lose his phone.
What specifically does he always do whenever somebody gets too near him that he doesn't like? Did you catch that? He spits tobacco at them, right?
That's
trying to get near them. What else, Claire?
When they went to the fair or something, he would stand in front of Marty and stand up so he couldn't see anything.
Yeah, they went to that motorcycle show and he stood up at just the right part so Marty would miss it. And there was one last really important part. Why else does Marty not like Judd? Think back to that last example. This one's really important. Holly? He killed the deer out of season, and that is illegal, right? That's why we have those seasons, to keep the animals safe. And what did he say that happened?
That the buck was crossing the road and
Right.
run over.
He ran over the deer, but did he really?
No.
No, he sure didn't.
Marty saw the buckshot.
So think back to Ryan's example about Judd with that $10 bill. What does that show about Marty's character? When Marty told the store owner, what does that show about Marty's character? Micah?
He has integrity.
How does he have integrity?
He said that Judd gave him a 10 and not a 20.
He told the... What did he tell the cash register person? The truth, right? He stood up and said, "No, he's wrong. He gave you this." It shows a lot. It shows that he has a lot of integrity. All right. And why was Shiloh shaking so bad? Remember, as they were driving in the truck, he kept shaking worse and worse as they got closer. Why is he shaking so much? Rose?
Because I think God can smell it and
Right? He kind of knows the smell of the place, and as he gets closer, he's like, "I know I don't like it here. I ran away for a reason," right? And he's getting closer, and he knows what's going to happen probably at home. Kateri? He's probably going to get hurt, right? Right? So Shiloh doesn't like it at home, right? He keeps trying to run away. All right, let's look at our packet again. Go ahead and get your packet back out. So, for the connected, I'm going to have you have that as homework, okay? There's a lot of good examples from text to text. I'll give you a hint. There was one example that really reminded me of Charlotte's Web with what Marty said. There was a really good example with Marty said, okay? That'll be part of your homework, those 3. Let's look down at our character analysis. What can we use to describe Marty's character so far? We've learned even more about Marty. What's one? Thomas? He's careful. Let's put that down. We're just going to kind of make like a web around it. So I draw a line to the word Marty. What else? Amelia?
He has good integrity.
He has integrity. Integrity. Let's come up with a few more. What else do we know about Marty? Micah?
He's honest.
He's honest. What else? Kateri?
He's responsible.
Ooh, that's a good word. He's responsible. Zach, did you have one?
He's kind.
He is kind, isn't he? He's still really kind to animals. What else, Monica?
Oh, sorry.
You forgot, Lily?
He's a good kid.
He's a good kid, right? Overall, he's a good kid. If you have other adjectives, can you add those in too?
Yeah.
Totally. I'll keep this up here for a little bit, okay? I'm going to try and slide my page so I can see the bottom one for my friends who are ready to move on. Okay. Next, we're going to do the stop and jot. So, Marty saw a lot of signs that Shiloh showed that Shiloh was in danger. This one, we're just going to make like a bulleted list because it's that stop and jot. So go ahead and put a bullet dot down there. What's an example that shows that Shiloh's in danger? How does Marty know? Like he sees all these red flags. All these red flags coming out. Isaac? So he can see ribs. This sees Shiloh's ribs. Think about this chapter too. What did he feel on Shiloh? What did he feel? He felt ticks. Feels ticks on Shiloh. And let's come up with one more. Think about the car ride. What else happened? Thomas?
He was shaking more as they got closer.
Yeah, Shiloh's shaking as he gets home. Give me a thumbs up when you're ready to go on. Looks like most people are close to this, and if you're not, keep listening. Your homework then is that connected up at that top. I know you can't see it on the screen, but you can see it on your paper. Finishing up that connected, those 3 connections, and then answering 1, 2, 3, 4 questions on the left with full sentence answers. Okay? Do you have questions for me right now? I will give you just about 2 minutes to go ahead and work on your connections or your answer it section. And I will keep this up here so you can see it for a little bit longer. Crystal?
Yeah.
All right. And my friends at home, that's what you have to finish up. Let me know if you have questions.